My mother opens my door. Ons moet die huis skoonmaak. There's 4 of us in the house, but I know the ons will only be her and I. I brush my hair, put on my swirlcos, and wrap another doek over it. The radio is woken up by my mother around 5:30 in the morning. It takes naps now and again throughout the day and is officially asleep by 6 in the evening. The sound of the vacuum cleaner in the distance. Maybe my father is actually doing something this morning. I've been on the phone with my boyfriend for about 25 minutes now, but I know that I'll be shouted at any second. My brother is asleep. I know that if I don't get up in time to help clean, my mother will do it all on her own, and we'll never hear the end of that. The morning greetings are in order. Morning Dad, morning Ma. Or else I will get told, ons het nie saam geslaap nie. My brother is asleep. My father is helping and my mother hasn't started shouting at me yet. I'm going to clean after my Tina. She cleans the TV room, lounge, dining room, and I clean my room, my parents' room, the bathrooms, and make my way to the kitchen where I know the dishes have piled up for me. I go out to hang up the bras and give the dog food. My father just left. I think his shift has ended. My brother is asleep. His door cracks open and he makes his first appearance. He makes a mess in the kitchen. He attempts to clean after himself. I go to clean it properly this time, because Lord knows the amount of ants that are going to rush towards a few crumbs of bread. My mother always says, if you want something done properly, do it yourself. The smell of Pentel cleaner and thick bleach reminds me of how clean the house is going to be when I'm done. Once the incense has been lit, that's how you know the cleaning is completed. Well, that's according to my mother. It's 4 a.m. My mother wakes up before everyone else. I'm barely awake, but I hear footsteps making their way to the kitchen. She opens the tap to fill the kettle and prepares a cup of tea to distract her sleepiness. Everyone remains fast asleep as I listen for her every move. I'm usually not completely at ease while she tires herself out with chores, so most of the time I join her and we do them together. A kind of bonding session with the occasional bickering. She loads the washing machine with clothes that have been separated into their various colors. Once they are done, we carry a bucket filled with clothes and pegs. She holds the bucket on the one side and myself on the other. The air is very icy. Hopefully it doesn't rain today and the clothes don't take forever to dry. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, like feeding the dog. Not because I am unable to, but because I simply don't want to. This usually doesn't sit well with my mother, but she doesn't argue with me because she knows I make a good point. Hi there, as I find my father sitting on the couch, watching TV. The ironing board stands in front of the TV. Ironed t-shirts sit piled up on the couch, watching TV as well. My mother does not enjoy ironing, but I suppose she doesn't have much of a choice when no one else is here to do it. And by no one else, I mean me. I actually enjoy ironing. She makes herself a cup of tea, and of course this means a cup for my father as well. She gets the iron ready and begins ironing again. My father sits on the couch, watches TV, sips his tea, watches her, watches TV, watches her. They entertain each other with some talk on politics. Hey, die Guptas, and laugh about it. She sits alone in the kitchen with a plate of food in front of her. I join her in a shared moment of silence before she tells me that I should wash my hair so that she can roll it in for me. My father walks in to look through the window and speak to the dog. I think some days they have full-blown conversations. It's 4 a.m. She gets out of bed and heads to the kitchen. Sometimes I question why I go through the process of putting my swirlcos and doek on every single time before getting into the bath. after my hair was plat gesmeer with gel. Morning Dad, morning Ma. She hurries up and down the passage while brushing her teeth. She's in the kitchen and the bathroom at the same time. She hurries up and down the passage. I leave to go overseas tomorrow. I feel guilty knowing that I will be leaving my mother to do everything on her own. While I am away, I think about all the work my mother will be doing. She'll wake up at 4 a.m., prepare meals for everyone, and get dressed while she paces up and down the passage. She messages me now and then to tell me that she misses me. She misses me especially when it comes to the cleaning. I've been back for 2 days now. My mother has been loading and unloading the washing machine. She has been out to hang the washing and has brought in the mop and bucket on her trip back. I don't feel well, but I'd feel bad if I didn't try to help. My brother is asleep. I mop half of the house before my mother shouts at my brother. My parents have left for work. My brother is about to leave. He walks by and asks, "What are you making for us to eat?" "Nothing." "But you didn't make anything on Monday." I laugh and shrug my shoulders, as if I'm supposed to make food for him when it's just the two of us. While the kettle boils, I pack away the dishes my mother washed before going to work. I sit down in front of the TV, still switched off, to drink my tea. My hair has been washed, rolled in, straightened, and swirled. I go back to sitting in front of the TV, only this time I am folding the washing. I think at this point the TV is watching me. As it gets dark outside, the idea of being home alone doesn't seem as romantic as it did earlier. I try to prolong my stay in bed. I eventually wake up feeling angrier than usual. Morning Dad, morning Ma. I make myself a cup of tea and tell my mother that I don't need to help since my father is helping. She tells me that I should take the bleach water and wipe the surfaces. I'm going to drink my tea first and make my way to my room. My brother is asleep. I'm enjoying doing nothing. I'm sitting here scrolling through Instagram. "Jade, gaan jy afstof?" my father asks me. I pretend to still be drinking my tea as he walks in. I answer yes and sigh as he walks away. I have given in. Although deep down I knew I wouldn't get away without doing anything at all. One can only dream, right? He comes to sit next to me and complain. "Jou ma vat 9 dae om 'n badkamer skoon te maak." The rage builds up. I don't want you to offer help while I hang up the washing. I want you to do things without being told or asked. You should feel obligated to do things just as I do. I walk into my room and realize the ironing is piling up, as if this day couldn't get any longer. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, not because I'm unable to, but because I simply don't want to. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, not because I'm unable to, but because I simply don't want to. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, not because I'm unable to, but because I simply don't want to. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, not because I'm unable to, but simply because I don't want to. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, not because I am unable to, but because I simply don't want to. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, not because I am unable to, but because I simply don't want to. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, not because I am unable to, but because I simply don't want to. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, not because I am unable to, but because I simply don't want to. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, not because I am unable to, but because I simply don't want to. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, not because I am unable to, but because I simply don't want to. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, not because I am unable to, but because I don't want to. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, not because I am unable to, but because I simply don't want to. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, not because I am unable to, but simply because I don't want to. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, not because I am unable to, but because I simply don't want to. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, not because I am unable to, but because I simply don't want to. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, not because I am unable to, but because I simply don't want to. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, not because I am unable to, but because I simply don't want to. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, not because I am unable to do so, but because I simply don't want to. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, not because I am unable to, but simply because I don't want to. Sometimes I refuse to do certain things, not because I am unable to, but because I simply don't want to.